guys? Welcome back to another episode of Crossing the Line. We're going to be taking a look at Gaza being invaded by the US. Joe Biden, yes, that's right, your favorite president, Joe Biden, has managed to pull it together for a few days at least, maybe a few meetings, and he is now invading Gaza from the sea. A sea landing operation, a beachhead is being built, and apparently it's just so that they can bring these poor Gazan people some supplies that are desperately needed after their surprise attack on the Israelis didn't go too well for these Hamas terrorists. Now, Politico story here, US military appear to begin operations off Gaza as soon as this weekend. What they're failing to tell you, what they're failing to note here is that this is actually a land invasion from the US military, and they are building a beachhead where they can attack and defend themselves from attacks from Hamas. Now, we have meetings of the US military and saying that they are basically going to protect themselves and defend themselves if they come under fire, which this place definitely and already has and definitely will be more. They've already been taking mortar rounds from Hamas militants, and they will be allowed to return fire under rules of engagement. So I don't know about you, but if you build a beachhead on a hostile enemy shore and then arm troops and let those troops open fire on people that you're apparently there to help, I would call that a invasion. I'd call it a small invasion, a small military act. But if this happened, if this was China doing this in Taiwan, you can imagine there'd be some missiles flying right now. There'd probably some nukes, and there'd be several aircraft carriers on their way to the Taiwan Strait. But just because America is doing it means it's A-OK and they're allowed to do whatever they want around the world, especially if the people they're attacking are in mud huts. So we'll take a look at this story here. US military appear to begin operations off Gaza as soon as this weekend. The establishment of a new aid route more directly involves the US in the war between Israel and Hamas. The US military pier off the coast of Gaza will be set up and running as early as this weekend, barring weather delays, and aid is expected to begin flowing into the enclave soon afterwards. According to the US official, a European official, officials are expected to make a decision allowing the project to begin with operations by Friday, meaning aid could begin flowing to Palestinians as soon as next week. Is it aid, or are they just sending them lead? We'll see anyway. Meaning aid could be flowing as soon to Palestinians as soon as early next week, the US official said. However, the timeline could be delayed by environmental factors such as weather or logistical issues, the official cautioned. Also, it could probably be delayed by attacks from Hamas and mortar rounds landing in there. Officials were granted anonymity to discuss dates before they were announced. President Joe Biden announced the plan to establish a temporary port in Gaza to flow additional aid into the enclave by sea during the State of the Union speech in March. The project was seen as a way for Biden to show his critics that he's taking more steps to address the humanitarian crisis in Gaza, while also circumnavigating the Israeli government's reluctance to open its land borders to additional aid trucks. Pentagon spokesperson said Sabrina Singh said Wednesday that the pier is more than 50% complete and didn't give a specific date for the operation, saying it would be ready to deliver into Gaza by early May. The establishment of the new aid route more directly involves the US in the war between Israel and Hamas, and it puts American forces off the coast of Gaza to help deliver food, water, medicine, and other assistance. Just saying, this pier isn't like off the coast. It is attached to the coast, which piers are. They have to be attached to the coast. So you're not off the coast just for the little fun fact that you're sitting on a floating dinghy or a floating buoy. Just because of that doesn't mean that you're off the coast of Gaza. You have made a land bridge onto Gaza and you have armed, stationed troops there. You have successfully, in effect, invaded Gaza. So the US troops are now on the ground in Gaza. President Joe Biden announced a plan to establish a temporary port in Gaza to flow additional aid in the enclave to the State of the Union in March. Now, back in March, he said he was going to be doing this. It was criticized heavily by a lot of people, Democrats and Republicans aside. And he's saying it's just to bring aid in, but if they're bringing troops in to protect that aid, it is by and large what you would call an invasion. Like I said, if this happened in Taiwan or Hong Kong, there would be some bigger issues. We wouldn't be calling it an aid package or a peer into Gaza. It would be an invasion. The establishment of the new aid route directly involves the US with a war between Israel and Hamas, puts Americans off the coast. Like we said, it's not off the coast. The project is a complex one. The US military personnel are building a pier a few miles offshore along with a floating causeway that will be anchored to the beach. It's almost like they're trying to say that they're not actually stepping foot in Gaza. So it's going to be a few miles offshore, but it's going to be anchored to the beach. You're building a bridgehead with armed forces. I'm sorry, but like, there's no way around it. You can politicate, you can dance around the subject as much as you want, but they are invading Gaza with American troops. The food and supplies will be loaded on smaller boats operated by the US military and transported to the causeway. Once there are aid workers from the United Nations will offload, organise and distribute shipments. Israeli Defense Force are providing security for the project. The mission is a dangerous one. US personnel could come under fire from Hamas or other militants and sustain additional or accidental damage from Israeli airstrikes. So they're worried about Israel bombing them as well. That's fantastic. Just last week, Gaza-based militants launched mortar rounds, there we go, into the marshalling area onshore where the UN workers plan to organise and distribute aid. So they are effectively taking fire. During testimony to Capitol Hill Tuesday, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin acknowledged that it is possible US troops working on the pier could get shot at. However, he stressed in an exchange with Rep. Matt Gaetz, Matt Gaetz is fantastic. If you don't know him, follow him on Twitter. That the US will not put boots on the ground in Gaza. I'm sorry, but you already have. The Defense Department expects to begin delivering around 90 trucks worth of aid a day through the maritime route once a pier reaches initial operating capability, a senior DoD official told reporters last week. The flow of aid will quickly scale up to 150 trucks a day at full operating capability. For comparison, over the last 2 weeks, the daily average trucks delivering humanitarian aid assistance into Gaza was 220 trucks a day. The official said the additional throughout the sea represents a significant increase of life-saving aid, the official said. I wonder if there's just they're bringing in food or bringing in medical supplies, or they're going to be bringing in troops or possibly taking people out of Gaza, giving them aid by bringing them back to the US just so they can vote in the upcoming election. That's a joke, YouTube. I'm only joking. People who aren't citizens in the US obviously can't vote. We all know that, don't we? Roughly 1,000 US soldiers and sailors are supporting the effort to build a temporary pier using a system called Joint Logistics over the shore. The official said the effort is a significant partner nation support, the official added without naming the partner. I'm going to go out and say it's probably Israel. The humanitarian assistance will first arrive in Cyprus via air or sea, where it is screened, organised, and prepared for delivery, the official said. The pallets are then loaded onto commercial vessels that are travelling about 200 miles to the floating pier, which provides a stable workplace for transport pallets and larger commercial vessels, smaller army boats that can reach closer to the shore. Also, it's just like landing craft. Those smaller vessels, which can hold up to 15 trucks each, then shuttle the assistance from the floating causeway, which is several hundred meters long and anchored into the sand. Trucks then drive off the small boats down the causeway and shore drop off the aid. The IDF will provide the brigade of thousands of soldiers, plus Israeli Navy ships and Israeli Air Force assets are dedicated to force protection of this operation, specifically, the official said. Now, Biden has basically just invaded Gaza. I don't really care at this point. I'm really over this whole conflict. I don't think any of them are in the right. Obviously, Hamas is a terrorist organization that needs to be shut down. And the people of Gaza, whether they're actual civilians, whether they're combatants or not, seem to be getting into the crossfire. And Israel definitely is killing a lot of civilians that they should not be doing. But I'm really drawn out over like how long this has been going on. We don't need to start World War III over this incident, and Joe Biden keeps pushing for World War III, doing shit like this where he's building a beachhead on the Gazan shore, and they're going to be returning fire. If they are fired upon, the US troops and UN troops will be returning fire. So Gaza is now caught in a pincer movement by Israeli and American forces, basically cutting them off from anywhere else. These people are hopefully going to get some humanitarian aid out of this, and not just incoming rounds from the American troops. Hopefully this doesn't kick off Iran into bombing them. I mean, if Iran bombed this pier and killed American troops, that would be a massive escalation in the area. And I wouldn't put it past them. I mean, they could have drone boats come in and attack the pier. They could just send a couple of drones to attack it. If one got through and destroyed the pier, possibly killing American sailors or army or something like that, that would be a massive escalation. Joe Biden has done nothing but aggravate this entire situation by planting a beachhead on Gazan shores. This is not what they need to be doing. They have effectively invaded Gaza. They can dance around the subject as much as they want, but if this happened in any other country, they would be screaming invasion. If this happened in the US, this was Russia doing this in Mexico, even, or something along the lines of that, or Colombia maybe, they would be screaming Russian invasion. It's as simple as that. If this happened in any other country, if this was happening in Taiwan, China was doing this in Taiwan to render aid to some, say, stranded Chinese people or something along those lines, we would be at full-scale war with China at the moment with them invading Taiwan like that. You can doll it up like you like. It's an invasion. The US has successfully invaded Gaza. Why they are ignoring the fact, and the media just dances around it and pretends it's not happening and pretend it's a humanitarian aid mission. This would be like Putin saying that he's just delivering humanitarian aid to the Donbass region in the form of cluster munitions and things like that. I mean, that's basically what they're doing. What do you guys think anyway? Let me know down in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next episode. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.